Hey everybody, just a real quick buzz through the Twitter scrolls because there's some things here you probably should be aware of. Lindsey Graham tweeted out, President Trump will have his day in court, but espionage charges are absolutely ridiculous. Whether you like Trump or not, he did not commit espionage. He did not disseminate, leak, or provide information to a foreign power or news organization to damage this country. That's according to Lindsey Graham. Let's look at Tucker Carlson and Kid Rock here just for a brief moment. Here we go. Let's see what Kid Rock has to say about his visit with Trump.
Right, yeah, tweet that out. It's like, I can't add anything better than that. But then it comes out and it's reworded and more political and like, a little politically correct. And I'm like, just being, we're looking at maps. And I'm like, am I supposed to be like in on I make dirty records sometimes. I'm like, I do it here.
You didn't think you'd have a hand
What do you think we should do about North Korea? I'm like, what? I don't think I'm qualified to answer this.
Okay, so that's what Trump did with some of the information. Next, we go to raise your hand if you haven't forgotten that Trump called America's fallen heroes who died in war suckers and losers, hand being raised. Haven't forgotten. As pointed out here, Kushner, Jared Kushner, son-in-law of Donald Trump, got $2 billion in a business deal with the Saudis 6 months after he left the White House. Remember, he was serving in the White House, and he personally shepherded a $110 billion arms deal to the Saudis. $2 billion, is that the price of the documents we've witnessed? Trump is so far gone, he appears to be asking the Department of Justice to pay him to go away. While this is a reminder of how senile he's become, it may be half incoherently revealing his real plan to get the Republican National Committee to pay him to drop out of the race on his way to prison. This is from the Palmer Report. Confused Donald Trump says he might cut a plea deal with the Department of Justice. Adolf Hitler said, my opponents are the enemies of the people. Stalin said, my opponents are the enemies of the people. The Chinese say, my opponents are the enemies of the people. Sometimes we hear Donald Trump say, my opponents are the enemies of the people. Something to think about. In the Bible, foolish religious people, ended up abandoning God and mindlessly worshiping a golden calf. So it isn't surprising that so many today are now bowing down to an orange jackass. Prominent Louisiana Baptist leader arrested and charged, and you can guess with what? Sexual misconduct with minors. Why did Trump have a copier, as seen right here? Why did Trump have a copier in the room he stored top secret documents in? This comes from the HR department. Let me make sure I understand. You were fired. You refused. Oh, so close to getting through. But we will carry on and make this as quick as possible. From HR, let me make sure I understand. You were fired, you refused to leave, and you called a bunch of your friends to vandalize the workplace. When you finally did leave, you stole a bunch of classified documents. You got caught, you lied about it, and got caught again, and now you're reapplying for the job. Just a little common sense. And busing people to the courthouse now coming on Tuesday when Trump does go to court in Miami. America First Freedom road trip, a MAGA Trump flag and sign waving rally. Of course there would be. Show your support for President Donald J. Trump, former president, ex-president. Tuesday, June 23rd, leaving from Orlando, from Miami, and from Orlando, busing people in to that courthouse area. As many as 42 women and girls have filed a notice of intent to sue the West Virginia State Police after a hidden camera was found in the women's locker room during their junior trooper academy for 14 to 17-year-old girls. Ann Coulter, who starred in The Nightmare Before Halloween, every Republican should commit suicide in solidarity with Trump. Coulter has took a shot at the Republicans who support Donald Trump, and this came after Turning Point USA. She said that every one of those Republicans should commit suicide in solidarity with him. And in other news, crashed UFO recovered by the U.S. military distorted space and time, leaving one investigator nauseous and disoriented when he went in and discovered it was much larger inside than out. Attorneys for whistleblowers reveal. And a reminder from the other day in the forum, this is according to Rolling Stone, the forum is called The Donald, one of the many extremist Trump's forums. Supporters are calling for civil war, mass violence after the new indictment. Personally, I've heard rumblings through the underground that they plan to have so many armed people at the Miami courthouse that Trump will not be able to be arrested. And just a final wrap up here. Looks to me like around $2 billion worth of information. This comes from Michael Cohen. Again, that $2 billion mark is what Jared Kushner was paid by the the Saudis. I'm so tired of these armchair insurrectionists, says Ron Filipkowski, but this one, once again from yesterday, we have now reached a war phase. So, there we go. And by the way, in case you have not heard, keeping this under 8 minutes, a bridge on I-95, a major artery from New York all the way down to Washington, D.C. A bridge was, an overpass on the highway was taken down today because of a fire and an explosion. Also underground explosions following that. And just want to remind everybody that the old congressman from Louisiana, old Chip, was telling everybody to watch the bridges. Just something to think about.